So over here is the chassis with both gate pumps installed on the rear, the super pump on the front. As you can see in the super pump I use a very short servo horn. I use the horn that plastic horn that came with the servo. I just drilled a hole at 10 mil, so hole to hole is 10 mil. And what it does, it creates more torque, more force. So once you hit the switch, you will notice that the whole setup acts pretty responsive and forceful, which makes the car hop back bumper. One of the first modifications you need to do creating a hopper car is to do the crisp flip shave drive shaft modification, which basically means that you shave the end point, the tip of the drive shaft, so that it slips freely inside the female part of the drive shaft. As you can see, now the wheels can turn freely, which creates very smooth hopping action. If you don't do this, you will notice that the hopping action will be very poor, even if you use like a super pump. It doesn't matter because of the friction the gear motor creates. Setting endpoints on your super pump and gate pumps, very important, especially on the super pump since it's like locked to the lever system. If there's any tension, you will notice the super pump gets hot, which is not good. So you definitely need to listen to the sound the super pump makes. If you hear like a small humming noise, definitely set your endpoints differently. Over here I have my super pump set on channel 6. I use for instance 66 and 119. This can definitely be different than your setup depending on the stance of your front wheels, of your front suspension, and of course the link you use and how you have the servo horn set on the servo. So, but definitely make sure that the endpoints are set correctly, because otherwise you can ruin your super pump. Important thing to note is that you need to use a 10A BEC, a Castleback, in order to get the most out of these servos. These servos are quite power hungry, so they need like a 3S battery. That's 11.4 volts in my case, because I use a high voltage one. And the voltage goes directly into the BEC. The BEC turns it into 8.4 volts, going straight into the receiver, which can handle the 8.4 volts without any issues. One thing to mention is that you need to cut the red positive wire on the speed controller. That also has a BEC inside, but this BEC inside the stock speed controller is only 5 amps, and these servos definitely need a little bit more. I use custom-made shocks on my setup. I do this for most cars. I use medium to hard, stiff coils to make sure that it can handle the impact when the car comes down. And it also gives this recoil effect in combination with the super pump. Makes this car hop back bumper without the use of any weight. It depends of course on how high you have the rear locked up. I mean, the higher you go, the more impact the front will have. So you need to play around with changing coils or changing the tension on the coils. The Gens Ace 4300 milliamp 3S Lipo battery is the battery pack I use the most on my cars. It's in high voltage one, 11.4 volts. And another option, good option, is the Gens Ace 5000 milliamp battery, which is heavier. In this case you don't need any weight plates. It will hop back bumper easily using only this battery. With this you can use a extra weight plate. I advise to use like a one of these small weight plates, but it also depends on how high you will lock up the rear. I mean, if you lock up the rear a lot higher than stock, for instance when you use like longer trailing arms, then you will notice that you need to add more weight to get proper hopping going.